Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Unfiltered Vet Discussions. We hope you all are doing well today. Myself, Kelly, is being joined by Jenny and Peter. You can see our happy faces on YouTube if you're watching it here, but if this is a podcast, you can come to unfilteredvetdiscussions.com. You can also follow us on multiple social media channels, and we invite you to do so, as well as comment, because we'd love to hear from you. So today's topic is New Year's resolutions. Do we follow them? Do we not? Is it only good for a few hours? Does your shelf life last a few weeks, months, or even a year for your resolutions? So we are popping in to talk about resolutions. So who would like to kick us off?
I'll start because I do a lot of speaking on goal setting, and essentially resolutions or goals. Unfortunately, we don't usually make smart resolutions like we make smart goals. We just make false promises that it's so much fun going to the gym on January 1st or January 2nd and trying to find a parking space, because all of a sudden the lot has gone from dead quiet in the week between Christmas and New Year's to I'm going to lose 83 pounds by January 4th by going to the gym for one day. So how many gym memberships do people sign up for and use once? We in practice usually do goals, or we should. And I would suggest that resolutions and goals are essentially the same, but we take goals seriously, that we should. I don't necessarily think we take resolutions as seriously. I think they're just it's like the nice list and the naughty list. Jenny's always going to be on the nice list. I'm not sure if I'll ever get on the nice list. But we make promises to ourselves. We never write them down. They last for as long as they last until something replaces them. So let's stop making New Year's resolutions and make revolutions by setting goals that are tangible, smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relatable, time-stamped, and stop making false promises. There you go, my soapbox.
So, how you speak about goals all the time?
Mm-hmm.
What are the key? So, for me, if I write it down, it happens. If I don't have a calendar in my phone because I have to do a physical, I have to feel that pen on paper. That's how my brain works. And I know, like, Peter, I've gone to hear, yeah, I've gone to hear you speak. And you're always like, don't, I'll send you the slides, But for me, if I write while you speak, that's a way of absorbing it, right? So that's how I make my goals work, is I write them down. So what other ways can you make, whether you call it a resolution, whether you call it a goal, whatever the word is for it, what are the tips and tricks to make it stick, so that you don't just go to the gym on January 2nd, you go to the gym on January 4th, like, what are the tips and tricks to make it work?
I love what you said about writing things down, because I do think, and Phil has joined us as a veterinarian, when we went to veterinary school in the dark ages, we actually took written notes. We had pen and paper. And I would suggest that there is a direct correlation between assimilation and writing things down. I think that the current generation that is either typing or tableting or whatever the case may be is missing out on the ability to create the synapses that occur when you write things down. So I rewrite my to-do list and goal list, my to-do list every day. Mm-hmm. My goal list is on the wall, sitting next to me on all sorts of Post-its. But yes, I do think that having it front and center, whether it's on your screen when you open up your computer, whether it's on your phone, when you look at your screen on your phone, I really am looking for the perfect app that is on the home screen of your phone. So when your phone wakes up, you're looking at your to-do list instead of looking at the dog, although I really like the dog's picture. But I think the way that you set goals is you also put them on your calendar and you put the due dates there. And essentially every goal is an elephant.
Mhm.
You eat it one bite at a time.
Yep.
Exactly.
And take it small. I was going to add into that too, is because if you're feeling overwhelmed, your bite's too big for the goal. There is always sub bites, tinier bites, different things you can. So lean into yourself is what I've discovered. And if all of a sudden the overwhelm warning signals go off in my head and I'm thinking, okay, I want to back away from this. I'm like, well, what is a smaller piece? What's one small little bit towards the goal that I can do? And if I do a few of those, then I'm like, oh, this isn't so bad. We can do this. But I think we freak ourselves out.
Well, I think too, like January 1st, okay, everybody, I'm going to lose it. What did you say? 86 pounds, whatever. So now I'm going to drink a gallon of water. I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to go to the gym for an hour every day. I'm going to, I'm going to eat paleo. I'm going to, and so we make these massive, I'm going to do all of this right now. And it's the atomic habits, right? It's the small little changes that you make, the small habits that you change, because we can make all the promises we want to ourselves, but if we're not willing to make the changes in what we do on a daily basis, then none of it's going to stick, and so right to what you're saying, Kelly, smaller, tiny little, like, okay, instead of saying I'm going to drink a gallon of water, I'm going to have, one of my, buy yourself a new cup for Christmas and I'm going to drink 2 of these a day. And then after a week or 2 of that, then maybe I'm going to start working out or get an earlier bedtime or charge my phone outside of my bedroom so that I don't have any screens in my bed. Like there's little things you can do instead of just saying, I'm going to fix myself today, which would be nice and impossible.
So I want to throw this at Phil because Phil, you've got such a great focus on the mindset and mental health. Not accomplishing goals can be significantly distressing on one hand. And so really what we're talking about is how do you get the small successes that allow you to feel good about yourself, because the other hand can be even more distressing.
Yeah. So everybody has already touched on a lot of the things. And so to your point is when, Jenny just said, when we have, I'm going to work out, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all these things, is that, when we have 20 new priorities, we have none. And so what happens then? Then it's like, oh, see, I'm a failure. I'm a piece of crap. I couldn't do it. And so you mentioned atomic habits. I'm going to put a pitch out to my boy BJ Fogg, Tiny Habits. So similar habits. So I got to do all this, habit science when I was doing my certifications in applied positive psychology. One of the best things, and so I'll tap this in with how I talk to clients about brushing their dog's teeth. Great thing that we want our clients to do. It's a new thing. And so what BJ Fogg does is not that it's that this is novel, but that you anchor. So you pick something small that you want to change and you anchor it to something you're already doing regularly. So you're not coming up with a new thing out of the blue. You're just tacking it on. And so what we would do is, for my wife's a veterinarian, is with our Australian Shepherd, he would come in the bathroom with us every morning when we were brushing our teeth. So, and I think we've talked about this before, but I would put his toothbrush and his toothpaste and I would finish brushing my teeth, and then I would grab it and then I would brush his teeth because he'd be sitting right there. And it was not a big lift for me to remember to do that. And then what's cool about BJ Fogg is BJ is very knowledgeable about positive psychology. And the other thing that you do is then you do some type of external victory thing. Like it's like, yeah, or we put our hands up And the reason why is that release helps give us that reward. It taps into that. But if I'm going to say I'm going to lose, 50 pounds in 2 months, like it's not going to happen. So it's small, we hear about SMART goals and, in different ways of doing it, but that's the thing, is it's bite-sized chunks. And, and I mean, just, Peter, like we wanted to go to vet school. Well, we didn't get into vet school all at once. It was like, what's the next thing that I've got to do that? Oh, I better get an A on this genetics test, and well, how do I do that? Well, okay, tonight I'm going to study, an hour for, what have you. So anyway, it's but that goal setting, the biggest thing with goal setting, and I was a personal trainer, by the way. So that's another thing, but having a goal that's too big is too much. And then it makes us feel like crap. And as our friend Herm Edwards says, a goal without a plan is a wish.
All right,
So,
let me throw
Yeah.
something back at you though, because
yes.
I'm all about BHAGs as well.
Yeah.
Big, hairy, audacious goals.
Oh yeah.
So, but
It's like,
again,
what is a BHAG?
You can,
you didn't know what a BHAG is?
No,
but you can have it. I want to own 10 practices.
Right.
Awesome. We're not going to do it tomorrow though. So what is the thing? And that's the other thing, is what can I do in the next 10 minutes?
Right.
That is the smallest step forward to make that happen. And I
Yeah,
don't have to come up with a business plan. I don't have to do, it's what's the one thing that I can do to do that. I remember, I'm in recovery. A sponsee of mine, he wanted to get his bachelor's degree in psychology, and we're just sitting there, and he's like, and he got he's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, let's call the community college admissions office and let's see what their hours are. And I'll drive you up there. That's something we can do in 10 minutes today. And that's what we did. So what's the smallest step forward that I can take right now in the next hour that I can positively impact that goal.
Well, I have accomplished a goal today.
What is that?
I gave Jenny a new acronym.
You did.
Uh-oh.
I don't know that I can.
BHAG, the BHAG.
BHAG, yes.
I don't know that I'm going to ever say a BHAG. I don't know. What is it? What is it?
Big, hairy, audacious.
Audacious goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Jenny, I didn't know it either. So
Thank
I'm
you.
Googling. I would Google it, but a dog's taking up one of my hands. So I'm like, what is this? Right?
It must be because we're from the Midwest. So we don't, I can think of other acronyms that are probably not appropriate, but
yeah.
I do want to talk to the point, Phil, where you said, like, when we fail, we feel like we're, I'm a piece of crap.
Yeah.
And I think that, and also, right, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 2 months. I think part of goal setting is we need to have realistic expectations and understand that all of the beautiful people that we see on Instagram that, lost all this weight or have this perfect life or run this perfect business, they had to do it in steps too. And our world is set up in such a way that instant gratification, I want it right now, isn't there a pill that I can just take to lose 50 pounds, and no, well, there are ones that can help you, but as soon as you come off, you're going to put on that and some. We all know what we need to do to say lose weight, right? We need to eat right. We need to work out. We need to, all do these things, but we all want this quick fix. And then when it doesn't work, we feel like failures and see that didn't work. See, I'm not going to try again because that didn't work. And I think if we have to understand that the things that are worth it take time. Yeah. And that is a change in your mindset in that I don't expect this to happen today or tomorrow, or right. I'm not going to lose 50 pounds because I went to the gym one day and ate a salad. Like, that's not how this is going to work. I'm not going to start a business just because I have an idea. And I love animals. So clearly I'd be great at owning a vet practice. Like that, it's the really amazing things are the longest processes and the hardest to do. And so changing our expectations to something more realistic instead of, feeling like a fail. We're all going to fail. I mean, how many times did you guys fail? I mean, we've talked about this, right? We fail as veterinary professionals. We fail as business owners. I just tomorrow we're doing gingerbread house decorations, and I just put together 18 gingerbread houses. And guess what? One of them, the first one I did, I feel bad for the person who gets that one. But you know, because I'm not an engineer and I don't really like gingerbread houses, but I failed. So what? Move on. I figured out how to build the next gingerbread house better because I failed. So I think it's changing our expectations and not expecting instant gratification.
When we talk about growth mindset, we talk about is not putting ourselves in a position where anyone is guaranteed to fail. You know, it's like, again, and that's where realistic goal setting and big, hairy, audacious goal and today goal to get to, you know, big, hairy, audacious goal and be able to celebrate the, you know, the little wins, you know, as well on the way, you know, on the way there. And, you know, and if I wanted to open 10 practices, the next thing that I can do in 10 minutes is I can sign up for Peter's course.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that.
That was
really good.
Was it smooth? Was it smooth?
Very smooth. In the pause before that was great. That was really good.
That is
seriously,
better.
but I mean, really, even that is like, if the things feel overwhelming, they can feel overwhelming because we just don't have the answers right this second, you know, and that's where in some of the tools that we use, it's like, you know, I can't open 10 practices yet, you know, or I can't do that this second, but I can do this next small thing to, you know, get me in that direction. I love this conversation too, by the way. Yeah.
It's veterinaryownershipadvocates.com. But by the way, small
shameless plug. Who started this?
Plug. But you know, one of the other things is we set goals for other people, but not for ourselves. If the goal is for you, you work harder at it. When the goal is because somebody else is putting pressure on you, you tend to be a little bit less motivated. Yep. So my comment about goal setting is, and this can go in the practical setting as well, as what's in it for me? Yeah. I mean, we don't ask that question enough, but goal setting should be about you.
Well, and I would also add on there, piggyback on everybody's conversation, like Jenny, you were talking about social media, and, you know, Phil, you're talking about 10 minutes, and Peter, you're talking about you. Stop watching, reading, or doing things that slow you down. You know, like if your goal and you want to do something and you pick up the phone and you see all these wonderful people who are living the ideal life, who have amazing editors, by the way, because that's the way it works, right? And it brings you down internally, then maybe you should turn it off, because you have that ability to stop watching, stop reading. If it's going to tank you internally, then it's a no-go. I would add to the goals as part of this process. Find the things that empower you, not the ones that just make you cry in your sleep.
As the old guy in the room, way too many of my goals in the past were either because of imposter syndrome or need to compete. And as I have gotten older, and I'd say wiser, it's not wider, but wiser, I've started to recognize that, you know, maybe my goals should be about me and not trying to keep up with other people. Yeah. And so I think that's an important focus. The world is hyper competitive, and you need to focus. We really need to refocus on ourselves, because if you get lost in the things that are out there, you're actually going to go backwards, not forwards.
Yeah. And kind of piggybacking on that, Peter, one of the things you just said is, you know, that drive or that external push. I remember, you know, when I was in vet school, I thought, you know, because so I'm from Florida, and I was like, I want to be like Link Wellborn. You know, I want to own all these practices and these, you know, wellness. And that just isn't me. Like, that's not where my strengths lie. And so, I think a corollary to this is knowing, to thine own self be true, but knowing what our strengths are, because there are things that I can do that I have natural strengths that I'm going to be able to be more effective with less energy than if I try to sit down and, and do, an extensive spreadsheet. Jenny and I, we were talking, the inventory part versus the people part, is that the people part comes easier to us, and it fills our cup, and we enjoy that. And it's like, can I minimize, with my goal setting, can I also tap into what my natural strengths are that I'm going to get, and again, giving myself an even better chance of reaching that goal and get that dopamine hit and get that, that efficacy versus, just getting down on myself for, oh, I'm too loud and boisterous, or I'm this or I'm that. And it's like, well, then lean into the things that you're good at, and, and use those to push you tap into those strengths when you're trying to do, reach your goals as well.
So I think we should start the anti-resolution revolution.
Yeah.
I like it. Wait, we got to come up with an acronym for it, though. R.
Arg. Let's go with the pirate.
It'll just be a pirate. Yeah.
Yes.
R.
The anti-resolution revolution. Really, why just take a look at the end of the year as a plan for the next year when every day should be a plan for the next day?
There's no reason saying you can't do that.
Nope.
No. Live, like, how do you want to live today?
So we're going to get t-shirts, like there's the anti-social social club. We're going to have the anti-resolution revolution. Arg.
R.
Bring it home, Kelly.
You heard it here first.
Right.
That's right. Right.
It's going to take over.
Wait, let me see if the URL is available.
It will be in some form, just maybe not .com, but it'll be out there somewhere, right?
There you go.
So I guess is one, be nice to yourself. Very, very, very first one. And when you're being nice to yourself, what does that mean for your goals? Your goals should help improve being nice to yourself, to improve where you want to go and live in the world today. So are you losing 50 pounds because you need to climb the stairs better? Then maybe one of your goals is increased mobility versus something that is hard to do overnight. Because like Phil said, you could start doing stretches in the next 10 minutes to increase your mobility. You won't lose those 50 pounds, but you can move around better as you lose those weights, right? So be nice to yourself, focus on 10-minute goals, be realistic, give yourself some nice reward factors. Like if I do this, I get X. It's okay. It's okay to bribe yourself and give yourself that dopamine hit and that cheering. And then if you fall off the tracks, on the train or the road or over the cliff, that's okay. Pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and go, all right, what did I learn from that? Because that one didn't feel so great. And let's try this again, right? So be easy on yourself in 2025 and come back and listen to us again at Unfiltered Vet Discussions for more commentary, more laughter, and more interesting conversations. Until then, we will see you later.
And get your R t-shirts at veterinaryownrshipadvocates.com.